all these mysterious things going on, and anytime Fort Detrick tells you something's missing, you got to look out, because there was a little notice report by the bioweapons lab in England, Porton Down, that said, oh, we lost some vials, or somebody stole some vials of foot and mouth the day that it was supposedly being spread. 2 days later, it pops up in locations all over the country. 1 person, 2 people, 10 people couldn't have done it. They sneak into a level 4 bioweapons lab. Somebody steals it. It's got machine gun nests, barbed wire, minefields, underground, pressure facilities, big vault doors. That's level 4. They sneak in, they get it, and they spread it all over the country. And the government goes around killing 8 million sheep, 4 million cows that weren't even infected. And the images, all those big piles of cows burning. And then we predicted the government wouldn't let people restock, and they said, yes, it's not sustainable. You're not allowed to restock cows and sheep. They're waging war on agriculture. They want control of it. They want to use it as a tool of control for their one-child policies. By the way, England and Australia 2 days ago, we haven't even gotten to that. That's in the stack. I know Burma's covered it. Have announced they want officially a one-child policy. Now, I told you when I made Endgame 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, when I've talked on air, that these new rules about, we want to tax you if you have more than one child. That's a one-child policy, and now they're admitting it. So that's happening. That's what all this control is about. But then you have U.S. officials track new flu strain from pigs, and they're saying it could, it's similar to the bird flu, on and on and on. We may have to take vaccines. They just so happen to have a vaccine mass-produced for this pig virus. They just so happen to have this horse virus. Notice the government of Australia last year accidentally released the horse virus. We were just talking about that earlier in the week. They can kill humans. And they said, an accident from our laboratory. Okay, well, let's just say this is all accidents. It's an accident that in fake, Arab handwriting in English, it was meant to look like somebody who couldn't speak English wrote it. With Allah's great death of the West gets mailed out from Fort Detrick, just an accident. And foot and mouth gets released from Porton Down by accident, and gets released from Australia by accident, and you just continue. Come on in. What's going on? Every 15 minutes? Oh, you found the program? Yeah, Aaron found me their basic printouts. What you're saying, it's just amazing? It's off the hook. Tell us what you found.
Just looking through
let's turn his mic on. What'd you find? Go ahead.
There's a death notice right here. That they're going to inform the parents.
You got to talk in the mic, they're saying.
There's a permission slip to participate in the program. Okay, and then it goes on to, let's see, it talks about health information, media release, mock death notification. I agreed to receive a mock death notification for my son and daughter as part of the Every 15 Minutes program. Obituary information. So basically...
Well, see, it's a death cult, but see, that's for DWI, so people think it sounds reasonable. They have it where it's unannounced. They come and say they're going to kill you.
The Grim Reaper will come to class and take one of the students away, and then someone will read the student's obituary.
Well, they have the studies. This causes suicide, and kids think about death. They shouldn't even be thinking about it. Yeah. It's all part of messing their brains up. All right, thank you so much. Okay, let me just go ahead and get into that now. Let me go ahead and start the presentation for everybody on this subject. Go ahead and get that out of my stack. Go ahead and focus and go over this. In fact, while I take a break to go back over these notes, because I want to do this as a focused presentation, let me play an important blurb here. Did the network send you the Ron Paul clip? Oh, well, that's okay, because the network has the audio of it. So the network has the audio of this. YouTube's down, so we can't play it from their servers. Last night, I just turned the TV on when Hardball was re-airing before I went for a jog. And I saw Chris Matthews saying, coming up, the girl that used to love Barry Goldwater, Hillary Clinton, she compliments Ron Paul. And they're now being forced to do this because they know that we are becoming the majority. And so she's there trying to kiss up to him so he won't ask her tough questions. But also, you see this on Fox, CNN, MSNBC, everywhere. They talk about Ron Paul and how great he is, and Bill Maher does it, because they recognize he is the figurehead of probably 80, 90 million people in this country. So all we've got to do is stand up and take action. For all of you out there that said, oh, the Ron Paul revolution, he didn't win, we failed. That was only one benchmark in educating and growing our numbers. And then we grow them again, we grow them again, we grow them again. And they're scared of us because they don't care if you're wandering off as a liberal in that controlled paradigm or wandering off as a fake Republican in that controlled paradigm. You really get into liberty and freedom, Declaration of Independence, Constitution, Bill of Rights. That scares the establishment. That scares them in a big way. So let's go ahead and play the audio of this clip. Here it is.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Paul, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Madam Secretary. I have a general question I want to ask about foreign policy, but leading up to that question, I would like to mention first that the election had something to do with bringing about change in tone with our foreign policy. And I think there's been some very positive changes in tone, and many of us have argued for more diplomacy rather than more threats, so many of us are pleased with that. It goes back to the old saying of speaking softly and still being willing to carry a big stick. But sometimes I wonder whether that big stick doesn't get wielded a little too often and too often. But I do want to caution all of us that what we say is very important and can be very beneficial, but what we do is also very important. So that may cancel out the benefits of speaking more softly and being willing to talk and negotiate. Some people say that we shouldn't talk to our enemies, but I remember the Cold War rather well, and we did talk to Khrushchev and Mao Zedong when they were great threats to us. So sometimes I think that when we look at how we stood up to tens of thousands of nuclear weapons, that we should be cautious as far as what we might do in Pakistan and put it into a proper perspective. But my big concern is whether or not we can reverse the empire mentality that I think we have adopted over these many decades, and also the relationship of this to our financial burden. Though we are speaking more softly and would like to get some troops home, the first thing that was done was our DOD budget was increased by 9% in a time when our national debt in the last 12 months went up $2 trillion. All great nations have been brought to the news for economic reasons. We didn't have to fight the Soviets, and the Afghanistan adventure that the Russians, the Soviets were involved with was very significant, and I don't know how we can ignore that. So I would like to ask the question about whether or not you can give me some signs or indication or some encouragement that maybe we shifted policies in the slightest manner. Have we brought any troops home? Are we less involved in Iraq? Will that war ever end? Or are we really going in the opposite direction because we're seeing Pakistan is so necessary? We need more troops, more expansion, more money, more DOD funds. So coming from my perspective, I can't see the difference, even though, like I said, I am pleased that there's a willingness to talk and try to work things out, and I think that is very positive. I always think that people who aren't willing to talk are insecure. This whole idea that we are so strong, to me, it seems that we lack confidence if we can't talk to people. And we are strong enough. Nobody's going to attack us militarily. So I see it very important that we change our tone. I think it's good that you got rid of the war on the term war on terrorism. How can you have war against a tactic? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But I'm not sure overseas contingency operation is more specific. So could you address that and maybe give me some hints as far as maybe seeing some shift in our policy?
Well, thank you, Congressman. I think that the president's actions in these nearly 100 days do match actions with words, although I admit there is a lot more to be done. We are still sorting out everything we've inherited and trying to make sense of it. You know, we want to protect America's national security, but we think there are better and more effective ways of doing that. So we are ending the war in Iraq. There is a definite end date for our troops to be there. The president did close Guantanamo. The president is looking for ways to engage with those who nobody wanted us to talk to, which is a sea shift in how we are proceeding. Words and actions both matter. I mean, at the end of the day, actions count more, but you have to begin by at least articulating a new approach. In our
John,
budget,
stop right there for a minute. Later, she grovels to him and says how great he is and how he has the most enthusiastic supporters. I don't know we'll have time to get to that. This is a different clip than I thought I'd sent the network. I mean, she's in there later groveling. You can watch it up at Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com. But that's a whole other subject I had in my stack. Her saying he's matched his words with deeds. He signed an order saying we might close Guantanamo in a year, but we're going to use all these other holding facilities in the U.S. and overseas and continue holding detainees without rights. In fact, Google